Gecko 135th, Bedford British Command Truck, Part 4, How to Paint Canvas Covers and Stowage. Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here it's really good to have you with us. Right, straight into it this week. First of all, thanks to everyone who voted in my poll, and as a result of that we're doing the canvas covers and stowage. So just a quick reminder where we got to. I have now put the radios in, and I have put all the wooden cabinets and the metal lockers in, and that's what we're going to be filling today. Okay, so let's make a start on the canvas covers. So how do we make what is fundamentally a boring piece of plastic look like it's made from fabric? Now the way I like to do this is with dry brushing, and there are various brushes that I like to use. There's a big chunky one there which is called a large dry brush, and you'll see that most of the ones that I use are quite large and floppy. They're not like the dry brushes that you would use for your Warhammer painting or whatever. That's a favourite of mine. You can tell it's favourite because it's still got paint on it. And as I say, these ones, there's a size 6 and a size 4. There's the 4, there's the 6. So they're nice big fluffy brushes, which is what I use for dry brushing. Okay, let's get into it. So I've on the box art, it's got a really good depiction of what the cover should look like, and you can see it's basically green, but there's loads of stains and shading and a real variety of textures on it. So let's see if we can accomplish that. Now I've started it with it's got a base layer of just khaki, and then this is my first dry brush tone, which is the same khaki, and then into that I've mixed it 50-50 with warm grey, and I'm just going to dip my fluffy brush in there and then work it away on a piece of paper towel, just to get the majority of the paint off the brush. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work just in two directions. So I'm going to go down and then across. By doing this, we can get the what it is effectively fabric, and we can get the fibers of that fabric to show up. It's quite difficult to do with those two ridges along the edge, but you see I'm just working in vertical strokes across the canvas cover, and trying to get some of the fibers of the canvas to show. Okay, now here's the direction change. So I'm now going to go vertically up and down, perpendicular to the last strokes, and this will bring out the stitching, if you like, and the threads within the canvas. Okay, and there you can see it starting to show, and starting to come alive really. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll repeat the process, but this time I will just use the warm grey. So this will be like a highlight, really, I guess. So again, wiping it all off on a paper towel and then going over it. And obviously this is so much brighter, so I'm just doing it really, really carefully. And you can see already that there are lines appearing that are going across the surface of the fabric. And just revealing the threads and the texture within the canvas. Okay, so there you can clearly see how effective that is. That looks really good, and just like real canvas. And the thing is, because those highlights are now locked in, so whatever we do on top, they will still be seen. Okay, so let's try and make it a bit dirty now. So this is brown wash for German yellow. And I've just diluted it probably 50-50 with VMS Weathering Carrier Lights. Now what I'm going to do is just use this like a dirty filter. I'm testing it on the back just to see that it's strong enough, because that bit will probably not be seen. And I'm just using it, as I say, just as a filter, so I don't want it pooling in the dark spots. I'm just trying to make it dirty, and because it's got a matte surface on it, you'll see how it sort of flows by capillary action across the surface, and although it darkens it really brings it to life as well. Okay, and once that's dried, and I used a hairdryer for that just to speed up the process, I'm just going to come in with a smaller brush, but the same mix, and just do some random stains. And this, again, it's all about building up the texture, making it random, and just, yeah, trying to make it as grubby as possible. Then for a bit more variety, I just brought in some black. I just added some black wash to the original mix, and again I'm just going to darken a few bits, and put some new bits on, and that sort of thing. And then I'll come away in afterwards and just blend it all in. Once that's dry, now I'm going to come in and do the opposite and use Rain Marks, which is another wash, and just blend in some lighter colours just to show sort of sun bleaching effect on the canvas. And again, it's all about variety and all about randomness. And there you go. So even after all those layers, you can still see the crisscross of the weave of the canvas. Really happy with that. Really happy with how it's come out. It might still be a bit glossy, so I might go over it with some matte varnish once it's properly dried out. But so far, really happy. And there it is in place. There's just holding it on with my finger there, but I think that looks really effective. And yeah, that's worked really well. Okay, let's get on to the stowage now. And this is basically filling it up with rubbish. I did notice that when I put it all together, look, I missed the back of that cabinet. Now I'm not going to go through the process of painting that, so I've got to come up with a way of disguising it. So I'm going to use Paper Shaper by VMS and also VMS modeling paper. Now if you haven't used this stuff is amazing. It's a really thin paper that's really strong for what it is. So I'm just going to tear off a bit, and then we will use this to make a tarp, just to hide the lack of paint. Fold it up so it gets some creases in it, and then we will soak it in the Paper Shaper. Now this is like a clear glue, I guess, that gets absorbed by the paper and sort of makes it go plasticky and hard, and then we can come in and paint it afterwards. So I'll just let that soak, and I'll work away at it with a brush, and just make sure that all the paper has got some of the solution soaked into it. Okay, and once that's all soaked in, we will take it out with a pair of tweezers and open it up. And so by creasing it and folding it, you get some natural creases in there anyway. I think I then decide that it's actually going to be too big for what I want. So I'll just tear it in half. Just leave that bit to soak. And then we can put it on the truck. So you put it in place and then fold it so it looks natural. And just keep working away at it till it settles, until you're happy with it. You've almost got to stick it to the plastic of the kit, but it will soon go. You can work away at it with your brush and more of the solution, just to get it to hold in shape. You can see it slowly taking the shape of the cabinet that it's sitting on there. There we go, so it's forming now. There you go, I'm happy with that now. It's certainly covering the gap anyway. Cool. And then after, I don't know, half an hour to an hour, something like that, when it's dry, you can paint it in some sort of tarp colour. I can't remember what colour this was. It was probably field grey, because that makes a nice colour for tarps. And it paints just like plastic. It's really nice. The whole point of stowage is just filling the truck with stuff that the crew would have used. So here I am putting a strap that I've just made out of masking tape that I've cut down onto a British water bottle, so then I can have this hanging up ready for the guys to have a drink. And there you go, that worked really well. Once that painted up, that will look really nice, just hanging off one of the cabinets. Okay, now one of my favourite things to paint is helmets. Now all too often I see people figure painting and the helmets are clean. I like to treat them like as I would armour, so they get chipping. This is a British helmet. I'm just painting it olive drab, and then I will use the same chipping procedure that I would on a tank or a truck. Just two-stage chipping in miniature, really. So once that's dry, I come in with a sponge chipping, and this one is with brownish green, which is a brighter, lighter shade of the olive drab. And I'm just applying it as I would onto a truck or a tank. Obviously a really small bit of sponge, so I've got nice control over it. And just making realistic scuffs and chips on the helmet. And then once that's dry, I come in with German camouflage black brown and just put the fine chips on, off-centered to the lighter chips. And again, keeping it random. I don't chip all of them. And there you go. Got to show wear and tear, because the helmets got used. They were there to protect the guys' heads, and yeah, there will be a German one hidden somewhere as well. I like to add something, and there it is all together. I think that's worked really well. You can see the German helmet on the right there. I always like to put something that they've found as a souvenir, or something that you wouldn't be expecting, because it really catches people's eyes when they look at it. Anyway, there you go, guys. That's probably enough for this week. I'm going to try and finish the truck over the rest of the weekend, and then next week, hopefully, I'm going to try and build my most ambitious diorama yet. So I hope you can join me then. Please like this video if you've liked it and found it useful, and please subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it really does help the channel to grow and reach more people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.